Well, hello, everyone. My name is Don Clayton. I am the Chief Talent Officer at FranServe, and this is the Changing Lives podcast. Today, I'm super excited. We have with us a wonderful guest from Texas. Her name is Angela, and Angela is one of our certified franchise consultants at FranServe. And we're going to talk a little bit about integrity today, Angela, and credibility. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, see, Angela was also a previous franchisee with a kids fitness brand. And so Angela felt a couple of years ago, she's been with us now for a little over 2 years. And so she felt that helping others achieve their dreams of franchise ownership would be a great option for her to help others because of her experience as a previous franchisee. So I asked Angela to be a guest with me today on this Changing Lives podcast to talk about the credibility that she has in helping others achieve their dreams of franchise ownership. We always talk about integrity and credibility at FranServe. As a matter of fact, our first core value at FranServe is integrity is everything. Without integrity, we have nothing. We can build upon nothing. So we have that strong foundation of integrity at FranServe, and it certainly does trickle down to our certified franchise consultants. As a matter of fact, at FranServe, we're very proud of our educational process and our training for our consultants. It all starts with training our freshman consultants in our core training session. It's a couple of weeks of very intensive training, and we're very proud of that training module that we have set up. It's all live training to help our consultants, but then we have a certification program. It's an extremely intensive program with a final exam, and we also have an advanced certification program. So at FranServe, we're all about training. As a matter of fact, our second core value is grow or die. So growing is something that we take very seriously at FranServe. And Angela, I know you do as well.
Yes.
So today, Angela, so today I've got a few questions to help our audience. Exactly why should they trust working with a franchise consultant at FranServe? What is it about being a certified franchise consultant at FranServe that's going to help them understand the life of becoming a potential franchisee better? So I have a question for you, Angela.
Sure.
How do you incorporate integrity in your franchise consulting business?
Great. Integrity. So that was actually seeing integrity as everything as the first core value for FranServe was one of the things that really sold me on FranServe as a business and being a consultant, because I've tried to live my entire life with integrity being a priority. And the way that I try to integrate that into my work with my clients is, these folks are coming to us, right, with sometimes very little knowledge of franchising. A lot of them have never been a business owner before. A lot of them see this as a pipe dream, something that they, seems so out of reach for them. And they're really trusting us to do right by them. They're putting so much in our hands. This is a life-altering decision. This might be one of the biggest decisions a person makes, in their life, and it affects so many things. And so that trust, that integrity, doing what you say you're going to do as a consultant, being transparent, really listening and understanding what it is that they're looking for, establishing that rapport and developing that trust. And a lot of that comes down to, a lot of the training that FranServe provides too, and just the culture of integrity as well. And so, being a trusted advisor, I take that very seriously. Every time I'm having a conversation, I keep in mind, like, this person is really leaning into me, and trusting me to do right by them. And so that's what keeps integrity kind of top of mind, for me at all times when I'm working with my candidates. And again, just training, the ongoing interactions with the Zors, and learning as much about the brands as we can. Just all of those things I feel like come into play when it comes to establishing credibility with our clients, and letting them see that that is something that is important to us, is that integrity and credibility.
I love that. And integrity is the foundation, and built upon that is the credibility that comes with it. And certainly
Absolutely.
the training that we provide and the certifications obviously have that, which kind of is a gateway to the next question. And that is, why do you believe that people, you'd mentioned that sometimes it can be scary. It could be somewhat of a scary step. People are investing money that they've worked very hard for, into a business opportunity or a franchise. So when you begin working with someone, okay, so you're reaching out to them for the first time, how do you establish that credibility early on for them to trust you as their source when seeking out a franchise investment?
Mm. I've always said, listen more than you talk. Believe it or not, listening, when we think about credibility, we think about our knowledge, our experience, and those are important things. And I eventually share those with the folks that I'm working with. That I've been a franchisee, I've worked in a franchise system, I've sold a franchise, I've been through all of the technical aspects of franchising, but also the emotional side of things as well, and everything that that entails. And I think that's important for people to know. But above and beyond that, I think it's really getting to know and understand the client and listening, to what it is that they need and kind of digging deep. And again, just building that trust and rapport with them. Because when I think of credibility, I think of kind of four components. I think of the integrity piece, right? The transparency, the trust, all of those things. I mean, you can really start to garner that in that first conversation with them by truly listening. I think intent is another aspect. Does this person feel like I really have their best interest at heart, right? Your capabilities, sharing with them, you know, I'm a certified consultant. Here's my experience, giving them a little bit of snippet of my background and establishing some credibility there. And then over time, it's results, right? Am I producing? Am I following through with the things that I said I'm going to do? When I'm presenting brands to them, do those brands align? Are they listening to me? Share these brands with them, going, "Wow, she really listened to what my needs were." So there's a kind of the components I think of, and it starts from that first interaction too. And I think that we're in the franchise business, we're in the people business first, right? And really that connection, I think, on that very first call is so important. And those are some of the ways that I try to establish credibility with my clients.
That's why I think you're great. And we do teach that. And one of the things I like to say is that we recruit personality and we train for skill.
Yes.
And although you had a lot of those skill sets, it's the personality that it's hard to teach. You can't really teach personality. And so we have to look at that at the forefront. And you mentioned it, listening skills. And when you listen to someone and you take great notes, and then whether it be a few minutes later or a couple of days later or a couple of weeks later, and you are able to reiterate some of those things that the candidate talked to you about, and then they're like, wow, you really did listen to me.
Right.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that, because not everybody is the same. You're in Texas, I'm in North Carolina. We have a lot of executives in New York, New Jersey, Wisconsin. We have candidates all over the world, and you're working with people that have a different background, a different culture, a different socioeconomic status. And so being able to adapt yourself to them and listen to what they're going through, because what we may be going through in our neighborhood is certainly not perhaps what they're going through in their neighborhoods. I love that, Angela. Thank you. So what steps, let's kind of talk more now about the franchisor. So we at FranServe represent hundreds of franchisors. We have contracts with hundreds of franchisors from many different verticals. And so what steps do you take, Angela, when it comes to making sure that the franchise option or options that you recommend for your candidates are good, credible options?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really spend time, as I'm sitting in front of my computer to research brands for a candidate, right? I'm taking all of the notes, that all the conversations I've had with them, and notes from the different steps in the process prior to that. And I really like to feel as if I'm sitting in their shoes, and I'm looking at this information. And there are a lot of brands, and it's a lot to learn, and it's impossible to know everything about every one of them. I feel like when you're a new consultant, you feel like you have to know everything about every brand. Take a deep breath. That's not the case. You'll get there, you'll start learning. But being active on webinars, right? Attending I love that about FranServe. I love that there's always something every week for us to be able to attend and learn, learn information about the Zors. And even though we're, at convention, great. We get to meet some of these Zors in person, which is really awesome as well. But even just being able to see them on that camera and put a face to a name and learn about the brand, I think that's really critical. how do the Zors communicate with us, right? Are they quick to respond? Do they are they do I feel like they're open, honest, and all of those wonderful things? Let's see. There's so many things. There's the brand bites. There's all of these different sources, right, that we have to learn about these brands. I think one really important piece of it too, that I actually wish I had learned really early on in my business. I would go back and change this, is connecting with other consultants and learning what has their experience been with these different franchisors, and what, do they have candidates who've worked with those, gone through discovery or gone through the due diligence process, and what was that like? I mean, there's just so many ways to learn about them. Again, you're not going to learn everything about everyone, but as I'm looking at these different brands, let's say I come across something, I think, wow, this could be a great fit for Susan. Let me dig into that a little bit. Let me learn it a little bit. Take a few minutes and learn about this brand a little bit more. Maybe reach out to one of my colleagues and see what their experience has been like. So there's a lot of ways, and I love that that FranServe provides all of those opportunities for us to really vet them out, and because we want to feel good, right? When there's nothing more satisfying than someone becoming a franchise owner, and we want to be able to lay our head down at night and know that we led them down a great path to a brand that they're going to be happy with and be successful with. And so there is a lot of work that goes on the front end of that and kind of vetting those out. But those are some of the steps I like to take in that process.
So well said. So well said, Angela. Thank you so much. We have about a minute and a half left. I've got one final question for you. What's some advice that you would give to individuals seeking the advice for the very first time from a franchise consultant? What's some advice you would give them when they're seeking out the advice for the first time to work with a certified franchise consultant?
Yeah, I think, and I know this can be challenging because essentially, we're strangers to each other when we first pick up that phone. Someone reaches out and I reach out to them for the first time, or they reach out to me. We don't know each other. I think, and I say this is challenging. Like, I understand that it's challenging to just pour yourself out to someone, right, that you don't know. But just being very open about what your vision is and what your goals are and what you don't want in a business. That's one of the questions I ask my candidates in the process. Everybody wants to tell you about their previous work experience, which is great. But I always ask them, so tell me what you loved about that and tell me what you didn't love about it. Because the beauty of it is we can look to see if we can find something that maybe is not heavy in that aspect, right? That you didn't particularly love about that job. And so just being willing to be open and honest about what your vision, your goals, your finances, just all how this is going to impact your family, your fears, right? Your hesitations, just all of those things. Because any amount of information, I always tell my candidates, nothing is too big or too small to share with me. And I want you to feel comfortable opening up and telling me anything and everything there is, because I can take something from every anything someone tells me, I can take something from that that's going to help me help them better. So that would be, advice that I would give is, and finding someone you jive with, right? There's lots of wonderful consultants out there, and we all have different personalities, and we all have a different, some similarities in our process, maybe some differences in that process. It doesn't hurt my feelings if someone wants to go with someone else, maybe they've connected with a couple of us and they decide, because you know what, at the end of the day, I want what's best for you. Right.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah,
it's truly a relationship business,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
if you could put some certain things aside that may be a little bit controversial, if you
Yeah.
can just put some of those things aside and then just really relate to some folks on some of my best friends in this business, we have hardly anything in common outside of franchising, but yet we're still, best friends in this business. And so it's all about building relationships, establishing that credibility, and making sure they understand that everything we do is for their benefit and for
Yeah.
them to just basically change their life. We don't not only just changing their life, but we're changing their family's life. We're changing their lives for generations, perhaps,
Right.
and for the better. And so I want to thank you, Angela, for being with me today, for being my special guest. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah. Thank you for
Such
having me.
great information, a wealth of information you were able to give us today on this webinar, Changing Lives here at FranServe. That's what we do every single day. It's exciting. So thanks again, Angela. I wish you the very best for the rest of this week and the rest of 2024, and we shall see you again soon, okay?
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.